I came out of uni, and you know what? Everyone most probably thought, yeah, she's going to come out with a first. And I see people now, and they're like coming out of uni with a first. I didn't. I came out with a 2-2. But
is that a dress? Do you say tutu? I'm messing around. Sorry, it's one of those days. Sorry.
Class honors.
Okay, cool. You said tutu, and I was like, why would you leave uni with a tutu? Oh, well, welcome to another edition of Six Figure Garden. So tonight we've got a very exciting guest. Her story is very uncommon. It's not one that you may have heard of before, but this lady is doing awesome things in the world of digital marketing. And I promise you, you're going to be inspired, you're going to be motivated. And the bottom line is, guys, is that everybody that's watching this right now, wherever you're having the time of your life in your career, or if you're just starting off, everybody can learn something to get to the next level. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the boss lady of digital marketing. Her name is Coleen Myers.
What an intro. I hope I live up.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. So yeah, let's get into it. So brief introduction. What's your name? Where are you from? Tell the people.
Hi all. Coleen, originally from Tooting, Streatham, borderline. Now in Surrey. Yes, and what am I, with a daughter who is going to be turning 18 in about 2 months.
Wow.
So yeah, that puts a age price ticket on me. That's aging me real quick.
Hilarious. Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. So regarding your where you started your journey, so you're from South London, big up all the South London people. What was school like for you? Did you go public school, private school?
I went to a grammar school in Tooting. So first of all, I went to a primary school in Balham. So that was Trinity St Mary's, used to be St Mary's, so a Christian school. From there, went on to Graveney, Grant Maintain School, a school that all of my family went to on my father's side. So I was just like representing and waving the flag. I went on to do my GCSEs there, finished there, and stayed on to do sixth form, where I completed my A-levels. I had to retake some of my GCSEs. I did like to ramp a little bit in my third year.
Not au fait with that.
Ramp. I took school very, very serious, but you know, when you get to about 14, 15 and you're feeling real cool, when you want to hang out with all the cool kids in the cool clique, I attended my lessons, but I wasn't as focused as I could be, because I was laughing and joking and writing letters in class. So yeah, for that I had to retake some of my GCSEs, which I did, and then went on and completed my A-levels.
Okay,
yeah,
got it. So,
I knew from, sorry, I cut you.
Yeah, so the GCSEs that you got, you said you got 5, right? Or 4?
Yep, I got 5, and then I had to top them up. So
what ones didn't you get? The maths, English, or the science?
The science was, I did double science, so I got part, and then I still had to top up. The maths weren't good. The English was good. The English was super good. But yeah, the double science didn't come through for me, and the maths didn't come through. So as you know, had to do maths again. And
as well as A-levels.
I didn't do it as A-levels. Maths was one of my retakes, because I just had to have maths. So yeah. Maths was one of my retakes, and then I also did media studies, and I went on and did sociology, and then as A-levels I did media studies and drama.
But in your first year, you still had to do your GCSE stuff on top of. Yeah. So there's a bit of pressure.
Yes.
So yes. A-levels go well?
A-levels went well. A-levels went super well. I knuckled down. I realized I had to knuckle down, so I did. And I knew from about 16 that I wanted to be a fashion journalist. So from before then, maybe about 14, I wanted to be a fashion journalist. I wanted to be cool, calm, and collective in the fashion industry. So I knew my pathway. Why? Do you know what? I think it was because
you live in South London. No shade.
No
What in South London can inspire you to say fashion is the thing? Did you buy magazines?
We had Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell's from St. Retham, Streatham.
You know what? In the advert, when you said that, I was like, "What is she talking about?" But I didn't even question it. Now I just received the translation. Powerful. Big up the St. Retham people. Incredible. So okay. So for those that are from St. Retham, Naomi Campbell is one. So she was so from what she was presenting, that was enough?
No, do you know what it was? I think from a very young age, I always loved Madonna. Always. I still love Madonna. And I remember my mum tasked us, so school holidays when we was messing about at home, me and my sister, my mum used to give us projects, so we just weren't messing about all day watching TV and running up and down and being at club or centre. So she used to give us projects, and one of the projects she gave us was to find someone that we like, who we aspire to be, and just create a whole journal on them.
Wow, Mum, I'm going to use that copy and paste. Oh, mate, I've got listen. Summer holidays are going to be exciting.
So literally, she would say, from where she worked, she said, "I'll bring back the newspapers. I'll bring back magazines. I'll bring back everything that you need, and literally take cut-ins and just basically build a bio on their whole life." And I did it on Madonna, and I guarantee you that I've still actually got it in that cupboard over there.
Wow.
And I learned so much. It was from the lyrics to her style to her upbringing, everything. And I think her whole out there personality just made me crave for that fashion love, that edge that she had. So I went on and I just thought, you know what, I can't draw that well, but I can write, because I done extremely well in English. I've done extremely well in media. So I thought, let me merge the two. You know, I looked at courses and I thought, let me do fashion journalism. It's a little bit edgy, it's new, and it's not the traditional sociology or English. It's sort of, you know, in between, because I had a brief stint of singing with a group, and we got offered to work with someone, Jazzy Jeff. We got offered to work with him. And I remember coming out of the studio that day, and me and my friends at the time were like, we got to make a decision. Do we go to uni, or do we continue with this music career? Because if we go down the music career, we won't be able to do uni. And that day we decided to go to uni. So from there, yeah, I miss it. But yeah, I don't know if I could have been a Monica or a Brandy, but yeah. But yeah, from there went on and decided to stick with uni. So yeah, off I went.
So where did you go?
I went to the Surrey Institute of Art and Design. I did apply for the London College of Fashion because I thought that was going to be the bee's knees, but it wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. And I found that out real quick. So I went back to the research, my careers advisor, and I would advise anyone to seek a careers advisor or someone who is working within the industry that you want to work in, and ask them for what qualification, what skills do I need? Because sometimes we feel that we can jump into a position not really knowing everything that we need to do and give, just in regards to time, just in regards to experience and qualities. So I did that, and then I found the same course in the Surrey Institute of Art and Design, which is where I ended up doing my degree. But along the way, my pathway or my vision changed, because I got into a bit of a situation at uni, and now it most probably would have gone down the lines of the Black Lives Matter movement, because while I was at uni, I was working on a group project with two other girls, and they weren't as committed to the project as I was. I carried the project, but after all, we failed that project. From failing that project, in a nutshell, from failing that project, we was seen as not going to get onto our third year through contesting, and through the back door talking. The other two people I was on the course with, they actually got to the third year, but me, I was told I can't go to the third year. Disputed it, argued, did everything, appealed, and then I ended up not going through to my final year. So got a 2-year degree, didn't do my final year, came out. It was devastating, but my mum was so understanding. She said, we'll go again. But then what happened? Coleen falls in love, child. This is child now, who's turning 18 in 2 months. And
you spoke up a bit there, just as you said that.
Sorry.
Rewind a bit. So you said so you're not at school. So you leave the university, mum understands, and then you fall in love.
I fall in love and have child.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So let's put a pin in that. So you are how old at this age? 20, 21?
At the time, I was 20.
Cool.
I was 20.
So you're a 20-year-old who has the dream of being a fashion journalist. You did all you need to do after GCSE didn't go well. So now, 2 years, obviously you're heartbroken based on what happened at the university. So in that regard, your dreams are kind of delayed, or not shattered, but maybe delayed. But then the new curveball comes in as you fall in love, and then you have a child. So obviously very personal question, but how difficult was it to now say, I'm going to have the child and continue with my life in terms of studying?
I think the drive to continue studying was from having my daughter. I knew even from before I had her that I wanted to complete my studies. I come from my mum's very driven, like she's very, very driven to succeed. She's always been in work. She's always worked and grafted very hard. And I think I take that model from her in regards to just wanting to succeed in something that I love and that I have a passion to do. So having a lot of respect, and from a young age, and my mum still shows us letters of where I've written out, penned out, because I liked writing. I said, one day I'm going to be looking after you, mum, and you won't be looking after me. So when I was pregnant, I just automatically must have felt like I put my armor on to say, I want to go back to uni and I want to complete my degree and I want to complete it so I can get into work and do the position that I want to do, as opposed to just filling in the gaps to make ends meet.
So you have your daughter, sorry, I'm saying child like I don't know the gender. You have your daughter. Now, relationally, how does that work with your boyfriend at the time? Is he around? Is he in the picture?
Well, we separated very, very early. He was still in the picture, but more for his daughter. But in regards to me studying life back up, it was very much me, with a lot of support from my mum and my sister. They're absolute rocks. And then alongside that, so, you know, I went back to uni. I went back to uni when my daughter was 6 months old. She went into childcare, like a lot of research, and her dad helped me with this. So we went to a lot of research, looking at different nurseries, the ones, and childcare, you know, the different options to make sure she went to one that would look after her and do the best whilst I was away at uni. So wow. I did that. And I found that ahead while I was pregnant, so that I was able to go back to uni literally after I had her, because I thought if I go back to uni, by the time I finish uni, she'll be 3, ready to go to school, you know, so I still have a lot of time to influence and help and shape and mold her through that school period.
Wow, that takes a lot of drive. You say it like it was just, yeah, so I decided and this happened and this happened. But I know many people that when they had children in uni or college, then that it was almost like that was a wrap. They didn't really continue pursuing what they were pursuing. Well, obviously you had a lot of support, so that could be one of the factors, but hats off to you. That's a big achievement. So okay, so you, whilst your daughter's 6 months, you're back in university full-time, right? Not part-time?
Yeah, full-time.
So you're back in full-time. So where do you study? Where did you go back to study?
So it took a lot of research when I was deciding to go back to uni. I did a lot of research to find the right place for me. I did attempt to go St. Martin's, but they saw girl, woman with child, and that didn't, you know, complement the look that they were trying to bring to their university at the time. So that didn't go so well. So I ended up covering my pregnancy, and then I went to the Surrey Institute, the Kent. I'm not Surrey because I went there before. I went to the Kent Institute of Art and Design, where I changed the course. I realized on my path that, you know what, I don't want to do fashion journalism. Actually, I want to broaden and do more of the design, the business side. So I went on to study fashion business. And that was an amazing journey. And again, I had good family backing support, but best friend at the time, a friend I met at uni, and it was funny because, you know, we had to just do a group work project, and we ended up coming together with our personalities and just having to work together. And I think she was a real pillar of support. And I think having a support network around you is so crucial, so important. Because when I couldn't attend uni, when I needed just additional time, she was always there to be like, okay, I'll get the notes for you. Oh, I'll type this up. I'll send this across, because she actually lived in Kent. So I was still commuting from Tooting. I was still commuting from Tooting Streatham, and she lived like literally 10 minutes away from the uni. So when lessons were cancelled, she would be the first one on my phone to say, it's cancelled, don't bother, come up here. To, oh, we've got cultural studies, it's irrelevant, like just come in the afternoon. Like she would really give me the lowdown, and it might seem like really, really small, but it was huge at the time, you know. Where my daughter was a little bit ill when she was younger, so there were certain times she needed additional care where she just couldn't go to nursery. So having that support mechanism at uni, and having someone who, because now when I went to uni, I was older, like I was one of the oldest in the class. I must have been the second oldest in the class. So you can imagine me trying to fit in with that group of people, as well as fit in as a mother. And I didn't openly tell everyone I was a mother, but I told her, and she was very understanding, and she just took me in, not took me in as a wing, but we became friends based on our experience and our personalities, as opposed to my look and my feel and my background. So yeah, so that got me through, and we graduated together. Awesome. We're running steep heads, still friends now, still best friends now. And what happened was, and the funniest thing, once I graduated from uni, because I know we don't have awesome amounts of time, once I graduated from uni, before I left, I did a bit of work experience in my second to third year.
Part-time?
It was part-time. Literally, we had a lecturer that came in and was looking for someone to do just a bit of intern work to support him in his business. And because I was still in London, and majority of the students were living up in Kent, it made it easier for me to do that internship, and that was in King's Cross. So
you have a child, and the unpredictability of having a small child, like you said, sometimes she might not be well. You're trying to finish your course, plus you take on an internship.
Yeah.
Your machine. Carry on. I just wanted to make sure that we're all clear that there was many excuses that you could have had just to get a degree, but you went the extra mile to even get work experience to propel you to go forward. But those who were convenienced in Kent, enjoying halls of residence and everything, the gloriousness of university, missed out on an opportunity that could have propelled their career. Incredible. Keep going. I'm listening.
It was tough. So it's not, I may speak of it like it was easy, and but it wasn't easy at all. I think one of my thing is I was always thinking ahead, always thinking like, this is where I am now, this is where I want to be. So rather than keep my mindset at where I am, because if I thought about where I am, I hadn't slept, I have deadlines, I've got to make sure that I pay childcare, I got to make sure that I can cover petrol to get to uni. I've got to think about my situation. I've got to think about my living lifestyle, because I've moved out of my mum's now, and I got a flat. If I kept myself in the mental state of the position that I was in at the time, I don't think I would be where I was. So I always set my mindset on where do I want to be? Where do I want to go? Because I can't think about the sleepless nights that I'm having now. I need to think about where I want to advance to. And if I keep that set in my mind at all times, I'm just going to continuously chase for it. And I think that was my mindset of just keeping me going. Also, my mum, like, don't want my mum to be working all hours. Like, don't want my mum. She still works now, bless her. But the whole idea in my mindset was, yeah, I don't want her to be working all the time. I want to be able to provide for her. I want to be able to provide for my family. And I want to be a role model for my daughter. So never planned to be a single mother at 21. So I'm going to make the best that I can of my situation and not be a statistic.
Wow. So you do the internship for 6, is that second into third year, right?
Yeah, second into third year. I did the internship, and really good because it allowed me to work on massive projects like London Fashion Week, work with really small brands that are huge now.
Like, you got a name drop,
Karen
obviously.
Walker, Abercrombie.
What? Hold on. Before the guys walking around bare chested in West End.
Yeah, like really small brands that are huge now.
Wow. That's incredible. And you would think that the curveball of life, opportunities kind of should run away from you, but it seems like they're finding you.
Yeah, if I look back now, it'd be like it was a blessing in disguise, some of the experience that I got, that I'm most probably, because one of the things it did teach me, and everyone would be like, oh my gosh, you got to work at London Fashion Week and you're working with all these people. Yes, I was there from 7 a.m. in the morning, and I was there at 11 o'clock, 10. I was there till about 10 p.m. at night, and they were still like, should we go out for drinks? And I was like, I gotta go home. I got a kid at home, but I don't need to tell you guys that. But no, I gotta go home. Need to come back early tomorrow morning. Get things ready. But it allowed me to see that this is not the industry that I want to be in. So I did the experience, and the experience was awesome. But it allowed me to see that when I go into my third and final year, now I need to try and think, what do I want to do? Because how I started in year 1 is not how I'm going into year 3. And I need to continue to think, what do I want to do? Oh, I've lost you on audio.
Oh, I think.
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry. So I think we need to put a pin in that, because when I think about when people set their minds and aspirations on a particular career path, we are essentially doing it blindly if we don't have experience in that field. And many times, like you said, we can build our whole life saying, I'm going to be this when I grow up, I'm going to do this. And then you now get into the place and you've built your whole imagination and your lifestyle and your focus on it. And you arrive and you're like, is this it? Or this is terrible. So one thing, as you said, which is really important, that any way you can do an internship, especially whether you're at college, even if you're at school, or if you're at university, or even if you are transitioning careers, try and just get an internship for a week or 2 weeks, because the blessing of doing that is that you now see what your day-to-day life could look like. And if it doesn't match up with your imagination or doesn't exceed your expectations, then it's time to look for another thing. Because it's very hard, one, to really know what you really want to do, because you're not going to know until you get in there. But the preconceived idea that we get taught as children is study hard, get good grades, and get a good job. But nothing about enjoyment of work, nothing about fulfillment, nothing about chasing your dreams. It's just about, just get the things so that you can be better. But cool. All right, good. So you are now, you've done your internship, third year went well, you passed?
Yes, I did. I came out of uni, and you know what? Everyone most probably thought, yeah, she's going to come out with a first. And I see people now, and they're like coming out of uni with a first. I didn't. I came out with a 2-2. But
Is that a dress? Do you say tutu? I'm messing around. Sorry, it's one of those days. Sorry.
Class honors.
Okay, cool. You said tutu, and I was like, why would you leave uni with a tutu?
Yeah, I came out with a second class honors, and it was. Do you know what? To me, it was amazing just to get through. It was amazing to make it. It was, you know, for the whole journey of what I went through, just seeing everyone along the way. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, because some people are like, "Rah, you didn't get a first, you didn't get a 2-1." But you know what? I own what I got because I made it. That's what it was. I made it.
Yeah.
And I never went to uni the second time to get a first. I went to uni to get a degree. And I made sure that when I was at uni, I took everything that I could to allow me to create a degree. So the work experience, that was the back of me trying to get a degree. You know, the classes that I went to, the courses that I chose, the projects that I chose was all to shape the degree. And, you know, I know people that left uni with a first, but wasn't able to jump into the position within the fashion industry that they wanted to. But I left uni with a second class honours and I was in work. So I finished in May. I was in work by mid-August and I have stayed in work.
So you didn't go work in like Greg's or like a local bakery or anything like that. Yeah, you got a proper job.
I got a proper job, and kid you not, I got a job back at my first university, the Surrey Institute of Art and Design, as a marketing assistant.
Oh, so this is promoting the university around the world or just the country?
Yeah, so this was first of all very much based in the UK, and then I was there for a little while, and then went on to a dedicated marketing officer in the Epsom campus. So before I was traveling up to Maidstone every day for that job, but then I came back down to Epsom and I was there for a year and 6 months. And I was literally just looking after the MA courses and the marketing within the team, and it allowed me to travel. I had a really good team that I worked with, allowed me to travel and promote the university from America to Italy. So I was traveling all the time. Remember, with child, but with child, but and people be like, how? I had, and again, I go back, I had the best support ever. You know, I lined it up very nicely when I had to travel, and her dad used to support me in regards to, it was his weekend, you know, so he would have his daughter, or it would be a couple of days extra, or would switch our weekends and our days over. So I had that support, and my mum and my sister again. And I say thank you because, you know, my mum and my sister allowed me to, you know, talking to you now allows me to just think, they allowed me to create the career that I've created, if I think about it, because they allowed me to be like, okay, what help do you need? We'll help you in it. And, you know, so yeah.
Wow. So you go to work at the place that rejected you and kicked you out. How ironic.
Yeah.
They now give you even more than what you would have got if you just got a degree there. They've now given you more experience, plus you get to travel. And like you said, you're a single mum at this stage. So cool. So you're there for how long?
I was there for a year and 6 months. And then I sort of outgrew the role. So, and they knew I was going to outgrow the role. So before, when I first got the job, I was there as a temp. But they wanted to make me permanent. So to make me permanent, they created marketing officers in each of the different campuses. Because initially I came in as a junior to assist with the merge. So in my final year, found out that the Surrey Institute was merging with the Kent Institute. The two universities that I went to were merging to become one. So I came on board to just support and help with that merger. And then once the merge was complete, they were now looking for marketing officers to sit in each of the campuses. But because now that my role would shift and I was doing a little bit more of a junior position, I took that, one, to be closer to home and also to get a permanent job. But I very much quickly outgrew the role. So I stayed there, but I also looked for another position. But I was adamant, very, very adamant, that whatever I do, I'm going to stay in marketing, and whatever I'm doing, I'm always going to try and elevate up, not go sideways, not go down, not go into a different career path. Because a lot of people be like, oh, you'll be able to make a lot more money if you're doing this. You'll be able to make a lot more money if you're doing sales. You'd be able to make, and it was like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to do and stay in marketing. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to grow in marketing. So I went on to work, and since all my careers, so if I start from about 2006 is when I actually started with my first job. All the way to now, I've always stayed within marketing, but I've always grown. So from marketing officers to marketing assistant to marketing communications manager. And then between 2006 and 2012, it was always very much dedicated to marketing management, and it was very much smaller enterprise companies. Some of them had about 150 to 200 staff, but they were seen as a SME, so small medium enterprise. And I was very much the one person managing the marketing team. And I'll say anyone that wants to get into marketing, like, sometimes you have to start at the bottom to be able to grow. I very much started at the bottom, but I allowed myself to grow. But one thing I want to leave people with: any position that you take, make sure you take something from it. Whether you do a training course, whether you ask to be assigned a project and you have no experience, just to learn something more, just to have them put you on a training course, then do it. Yes, the likelihood is that you're going to have to do extra hours. The likelihood is that you're going to have to shape something into something that just didn't exist. But it allows you to grow your marketing skills. So whatever your end goal is, I want to be a CEO of Apple, for instance. Over the years, you haven't just jumped into Apple. You actually know what it is to do the work on the ground. So, when you're moving up the ladder and someone's asking you certain questions, you can say, yeah, I did that back a couple of years ago. So over the years, I started on the bottom where it was just me. And then I went into another company where I managed. And then it most probably was about 6 years of my work where it was predominantly me in the marketing position. And then outside of that, I then went to work in a different style organization, still marketing, but very much email campaign led.
This is important.
Yes.
First disclaimer: when she says take things from work, we're not talking about stationery and laptops. Just a quick disclaimer: we're not saying steal stuff from work, because the most common thing that people steal is stationery at work. I don't know, but I need to put that in there. We do not condone stealing stuff from work. We talk about taking knowledge, information, experience. Right. Cool. And then the next one is, when you're now talking about email marketing, what year are we talking about now?
Email marketing, 2012.
Right. So this is really important, right? So imagine now, at this time, Facebook is now fully up and running. I believe they're a public company now. 2012, Google Analytics, Google AdWords is in full effect, but it's not even 10 years old though, if we're clear.
No.
So we're talking about the infancy of digital marketing, right?
Yeah. So if I put some context to it, when I started in 2006, the social media channel that we was using to promote the university courses was MySpace.
For those that are too young to know, MySpace was everything before Facebook and Instagram.
It was everything.
It was everything.
It was everything. And then 2011, 2009 to 2011, Facebook sort of hit the market, and Twitter was there, but everyone was like, I'm not too sure about this. 2011, 2012 is where YouTube came in a bit more. Organizations. So I was working for an organization, AutoCue, with the BBC, where YouTube was coming a thing of doing videos and uploading content so people would know about your products and solutions. And then 2012 is where email was really becoming a thing, and this is more about buying data. So my job was to manage over 1 million records B2B and about 800,000 records B2C. And organizations would buy selections of the data, and I would have to dedupe it meaning clean it up, break it down to the segments that a customer has asked for it, and then send out a campaign on the back of that.
Okay, so when we talk about data, for those that don't know, we are talking about name, email address, occupation, or whatever field you would have filled in when you clicked on the website, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Is that what you're about? Okay, cool.
Yeah. For business, there was a lot more. For business, so that was very much for B2C data, for business, be able to tell you how many staff you had, what like your annual card transaction volume, like what you usually taking in. So there was a lot more data that we could get on the business. So, you know, we worked with campaigns on big, large car companies, and they'll be like, we've got a showroom weekend coming up, want to be able to target these X amount of people. What data do you have? And we'll be like, okay, we've got 60,000. Okay, so now I want to pay you for that 60,000. So, but I went into that job because I thought, oh, something different. I immediately knew I didn't like the job. I had a team of 5, but I ended up staying there for years. I thought, oh, I'll only be here for 6 months. I'll continue looking. But I ended up being there for years. And a lot of the main reason I stayed was because of the team. I had a team of 5, and I grew a real attachment to them. Forgot about my career, still on file, and very much focused on my team. But it was good for people management. It allowed me to really understand how to manage people. So again, you know, thinking about future prospects and where I want to go and what I want to do, it was good to know how to manage people. Yeah, anyone can say, yeah, I can manage people. But anyone who hasn't managed people before and you want to manage people, anyone that wants to get into leadership and management, if you've got anyone sitting below you, you literally have to take them as your children. If you've got anyone that is sitting even on the same line as you, you got to take them as family, because you'll realize that you spend more time at work than you do at home. And when you have a team, you would think, I've recruited this team and they have all the skills and the qualifications to do the role, but you'll realize that they lean on you for the smallest of things, for reassurance, because you realize that they want your experience as much as you want them to grow. They're leaning on the back of you, and I'm leaning on the back of my director. So remember, if you want a team, you want to build on a team, you want to grow a team, know that you are going to be reproducing babies that you never thought that you had, that look like they're in adult form, but they're literally like your babies. From telling you that they cannot come to work because the bus has broken down, and you're like, oh yeah, right, you told me yesterday that you was going out drinking with your friends, but we'll leave that one there, to, oh, I want to grow, and I want to do this, and I want to change my position, and, you know, get more experience. How do I do that? So there's that mixed bag. So I was there.
Okay. So you were there for how, 5 years or 6 years?
Yeah, I was there for 5 years. I was there way too long.
So with the time that you were there, so you're now, okay, so what are you thinking then? Because obviously you're there. So say for the first year you worked hard, then after you were just coasting. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I hope this doesn't go to Xbox. Yeah. So cool. So okay, so what's in your mind now? Because you're now at a point in your career where you've been doing this now, I want to say 7, 8 years now.
Yeah. Even
longer.
longer.
Obviously you stayed at the same place for 5 years, and obviously you want to go to the next level, which is obviously more money, more exposure, etc. What's going on in your mind? And obviously now your daughter's going to be just going secondary school.
Yeah.
So you've got a teenage daughter to deal with, which is its own thing on its own. But I'm not going to go there today. So okay, so you're now there, and you obviously realize you're overstaying your welcome. So what is your thought process then? What do you create, something like a business or side hustle? What do you do next?
So I was living life. I remember that I was living life because my daughter was going to secondary school. So I was like, oh, I've got a bit of freedom. I worked with some really cool people. I worked with some really cool people. And you know what? I think over that time period, I also sort of shaped, because I was in my 30s. So I shaped myself in a way of thinking, what next? And, you know, I was going to church. I wasn't as active as I am now, but I was attending church, and I came to a point where I was like, God, I don't want to be here, but you've got to lead me with this. Because I am still here and I'm not having much luck finding another job. Before, I could be like in and out if I found something. Now, what's going on? And I literally was just speaking to him. Sometimes I'd sit at my desk saying, Lord, I don't want to be here, like, help me out. And it was like, if I don't find a job, I'm going to set up my own business. if I do find a job, ooh, we're just going to continue down that route. And what happened was I found a job. That job didn't work out. That job was amazing. Won't go into it. Was really good. Financially, it was absolutely phenomenal. Like, was covered. I would have been set. I would have had my house a lot earlier if I was still there. But it didn't work out. And within just a couple of months, I left. And I thought, oh, okay, Lord. So now you're telling me it's time to set up my business. I literally remember leaving the job and thinking, yeah, it's time for me to get my business on the ground because I've been messing about with this for too long. So yes, that's when I birthed my little baby, CM Creative Minds. I took a good couple of time. I took some time out. She's been going for 6 years now. So I set her up and she's been going strong, very, very slow in the beginning. But it was something that I birthed in my mind and brought to reality. And I've always seen it as my retirement plan. So I did the business plan. I got myself an accountability partner because now I was working from home and sitting on couch. And you got to remember, I've been working. So I never stopped working since I came out of uni. I constantly was in work. So now I had a bit of space and it was like, oh, I knew what it was like to go and have a coffee midday and not have to rush back to work. So I got myself an accountability partner to make sure I was on track of setting up my business.
What does that look like when you say accountability? Is that like a friend or someone like is actually in the creative marketing world?
So there's two. So I had someone who was in the I had two. Someone who was in the creative marketing world. And then I also had someone, so I had my mum. She's ruthless. She's great with a spreadsheet. So literally, and she was like, write down everything that you need to do and the deadlines and send it to me. And literally she would hold me accountable. Like, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? Another good friend of mine, she works for the bank and she'd been opening up business accounts. So she gave me all this advice and got me on track to setting up a business account and making sure I registered the company and talking to me about my options of business names, and just remember registering and getting that all underway. And yeah, I got birthed that little beauty CM Creative Minds.
So what is that for? Tell the people, what do you do?
Creative Minds is a marketing agency where I've taken all my experience and knowledge, so all my years of doing ground basic work of building websites, creating brands, making small companies look like large companies, managing data. So all the stuff I did at the other company. So what does data look like? How do you separate it? They may use the term segment, but how do they separate it, break it apart, and then how can I put it back into a database and utilize it? All the way down to the legalities, how long you can keep data, how long you can retain it. And then from moving forward, now came into CRM system, so custom relationship management tools. So this is now building profiles. So if you imagine you've gone to Tesco's and you've gone to Amazon, all of a sudden you've gone to another website and Amazon is now being displayed over on this other website, and that item that you looked at on Tesco's is now showing you it's 50% off if you buy it here. So understanding all customer behavioral data, that's all what I do. So the agency is really to support small businesses wanting to get on the ground with marketing, not be charged an arm and a leg, and want to also be empowered. So it's not just about me taking your brand to the next level, but it's also about me empowering you to be able to know how to develop your own brand, how to lead on your own brand. So, you know, I provide you with the tools, we work together, and then after a little while, you'll be able to feel comfortable enough to continue leading. Because my thing is, you don't always want to be paying an agency loads and loads of money. You want to be empowered to know and lead your own brand.
Cool. So you now started Creative Minds. You're obviously in a career break, or are you still looking actively?
I wasn't, and then the penny dropped when the money savings was drying out, and still had bills, had still with child, with higher demands, and came to a point of, oh, I actually want to buy property. So it's not going to help with savings on the dip and the business like really dry. So if you start a business, don't ever assume that it's going to boom. You could have a couple of customers straight away, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of mistakes to like shape it and get it right. So I decided to keep the business going. That's my retirement plan, and try and find work. The first batch of work I did for a couple of years was just, well, a couple of years was very much just contracting. Great money, contracting. Anyone that wants some good money in marketing, go for a bit of contract work. And that ranged from building out CRM systems to being a marketing consultant, so a lot of project-based work, where I was there for like 6 months, 8 months, and then I left. And then in between, I had a good agency I worked with who in between, they would make sure they lined me up the next project. But then I realized this was good, but I can't remember. Something happened within the climate where it was like a little bit shaky. And it was like, I need to find something a little bit more permanent. I think my daughter was finishing up, transitioning from schools and all sorts. So I was like, I need something a little bit more stable. I found a job where I was an e-commerce manager. Great, exciting for a small company. And that was, I gave it everything. So I still had my company on the side, but I went into this small company with the mindset of my company, but not thinking that it's not your company, Coleen. So yeah. I was trying to provide it, my services, but under somebody else's brand. That was wrong because I got too comfortable. I started doing a bit of admin work. I started doing a bit of this and that. And I uncovered some things and unraveled some things. And I was then asked to present and do extra time. And I did extra time. And by doing extra time, a set of managers told me, make sure I ask for additional pay because I'm working outside of my hours. Working those extra hours, and I laugh at this because I don't think anyone could believe this if you made it up. I did the extra hours, and then under the management of my directors, I then went to the other director and said, oh, that extra bit of hours that I did for you, I uncovered this, but also would I be paid for that? Literally that was in the morning. By 12 o'clock, I was told to leave the business.
What did you uncover? Fraud or something?
No. So I'm one of the things, because I've been in the industry so long, a lot of people still think that I might be in my early 20s. I stay mute for when I need to be mute, but data is my thing. Behind the scenes is my thing. I can look at data and I'll literally strip it apart. SEO, optimizing, I can do all of that. And literally I uncovered some dodgy bit of SEO that he was doing, some like backstreet sort of work to try and prompt the market, and it could have a negative impact. So I was like, this can have a negative impact. Yeah, you can do it, but you don't want to be like BMW, who just got wiped out of Google for very many years. So on the back of saying this, and on the back of asking for, am I going to be paid? A couple of hours later, I was told, oh, see you later. And I had security to sort of usher me out. And I'll say real quick, it got me to a place of rock bottom. I got so comfortable in this organization. I thought, I'm gonna get my house, CM Creative Mind still going, I'm close to home, blah 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 blah. I was out. So people who I thought were my friends weren't, and then I got ushered out. So it brought me to the bottom of the bottom.
Why did this experience bring you to the bottom, considering all of the victories you've had previously?
Do you know what? I think it's because I took them as actual friends. And that's one thing you shouldn't do. Remember, work is work. I think I got too comfortable with them. So I actually took them as, oh yeah, my friends, like, you know, we're cool. We go to lunch, blah, 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 blah. I actually took them as my friends, and I missed that thin line of, this is not friends. You could have a good relationship, but this is work.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I messed up. So when the rug was pulled from underneath my feet, it was like, whoa, literally, I was shocked. Like, yeah, literally. And I went on okay, and I was fine, and I was bubbly and everything. And I don't think I realized depression until really, really late. I remember my friend coming round, and he literally was just talking to me, and I just felt like, I remember I had to leave the room to go to the kitchen, and I was just bawling my eyes out. I was like, why? And I walked back into the room where my daughter and my friend were sitting, and it was just like, they knew, but they didn't say, and they were just like, yeah, let's just watch some TV and blah blah blah, and they just tried to take my mind away from where it was. And you know, because it was really, really far. I think they could see that, but like, I've zoned out. And I think the two allowed me to stay stable. And one of them was my daughter. She was an absolute rock. And you know what? I give thanks for the fact that she was the age that she was, and she understood things that she did. And I'm glad that I had the upbringing, because I sat her down and said, the luxuries that we have now, I can't continue. I can't maintain. I remember having conversations with her to even say, there might be a time I actually ask you to stay with your dad a little bit longer than just like the weekends and the odd couple of free days here, because I don't want you to be here and we don't have no food.
Wow, so it was like that.
It was like that. So I think so literally I was told goodbye and we'll pay you to the end of the month. And that was literally it. And it was the end of November. Christmas is my favorite season. I am the most extra of extra people. Tree, start buying presents from August. Like,
you can buy my presents from August.
So really, so yeah, some Christmas presents were already purchased, but it was like, for me, it was like, I can't buy Christmas presents. I can't. My mum's birthday's in December. I can't get her anything, and that just traumatized me. My daughter, can't get her anything, and it literally just, it really shook me. And I think that's one of the things that also just made me think, like, this is not where I wanted to be. I've done all of this in my career, and look where I am now. And I think it moved me away from my own business, like, because it's just like, well, how am I going to do this now? I was just confused. And I think in your career, I think we all get to a part when we're confused of what direction we're going in, whether we become stagnant in a job, or whether we become stagnant in our own growth, or whether we become stagnant in our business because we're like, we got it this far, don't know where to take it. It's always good, and it's always worthwhile to have someone around you that can constantly keep you inspired. And that doesn't have to be a partner, that doesn't have to be a friend, just someone that knows your end goal or your end state, so that they can always bring you back into alignment. So I remember just reaching out. I was so low. I remember reaching out to a minister who's also a very good friend of mine, and just asking her if she knew someone that could just talk to me for a bit and just do a bit of mentorship. Because I just was like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just all over the place. And she gave me an exercise, which I did. And it really helped reshape me, remodel me. I was out of work for a good period of time, not too long, but long enough for me. So I think I lost a job in November, and I didn't start work until the end of January. So to me, it was a long time. To others, they'll be like, oh, it's only 2-3 months. To me, I've always gone from job to job to job to job to job. I would tell anyone, don't leave one job to then not have a job. and then to look for a job, always have something lined up. So to me, it was a massive gap.
Wow. So then that company then you moved to, is that the one you're still at today, right?
Yes, I am still there. I'm still there today, and it is a blessing in disguise. So on my break, I went to. I was doing a lot more work for church, and I remember receiving the call. I had about 4 interviews, literally 4 interviews, for a position that has me full-time home-based. So I was like,
Huh?
sweet.
Wait. As in, this is before COVID, right?
This is before COVID.
Okay. Okay, cool. Carry on. Sorry, I just need to just to take that in. So they offered you a full-time job with benefits and everything.
Yeah.
To be at home.
Yeah, full-time.
Cool. Brilliant.
So,
Keep going.
yeah, so
I'm not telling you.
so it's a little bit shocking because, you know, when I remember when the day I lost the job was the day my prayer group was like, yeah, we're going to pray for you today, Coleen. All the prayers are going to be about you. Just feel in my spirit it needs to be about you. And literally maybe 5 hours later, I lost my job. And I say it's a blessing in disguise. I say it's a blessing in disguise because if I didn't lose the job, I would have never been in the job that I'm in now, because I would have never seen that opportunity. I can't remember applying from it. I remember they approached me and told me about the position. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this. Like, massive international organization. And, you know, it said home base, but I'm like, yeah, it's got a catch in it. So I applied for it and I went on 4 interviews and I am still there today. International company. So I get the perks of traveling that I did when I first started out with the Surrey Institute of Art and Design. And then I have the perks of doing digital marketing. I have the perks of still managing a team. And this is where, when you sit back and think of it, all my jobs have sort of shaped me into the position that I am now. So from working from home, so from working with the smaller organizations of just being on my own, from understanding time management, from understanding how to set yourself up, and being your own accountability partner so that you know what you're doing, to the way of leading and managing a team, knowing what to do for your team, to then understanding social media, to merge that in with data, to merge that in with digital marketing. So in my other jobs, I was it was very much offline. So back in the day, there used to be offline marketing and online marketing. Offline was print, newspapers, magazines, leaflets, flyers, surveys, all of that stuff. Online was websites, social media, online advertising, and then you had offline advertising, and they very much grouped them in the 2 brackets. And I had very much been heavily focused on offline marketing. So that transition going into full digital was really hard because my CV never really reflected it. So when I was doing my consultancy work, I really tried to get more of the digital aspect. So when I was in the positions, when I was in the roles, I always tried to get myself assigned a project that had digital within it so that I could place it on my CV. So I did nearly a year at London City Airport, and that was I was doing a maternity role and I was there a bit longer, and that was the digital CRM and commercial manager. So that allowed me to be like, boom, put your stamp on it. And then from there, I was an e-commerce manager. So that allowed me to, again, boom, put your stamp on it. So that when now I'm a digital content manager for all of Europe, managing 9 sites across Europe, from all of the Nordics to Poland to Benelux to Ireland to Germany. It's all sort of shaped. So people might look at me now and be like, oh my gosh, you got the best career ever. You got this great job. You're home based, you know, but I've had 12 years of trying to get there.
Yeah, that's right.
So I didn't jump into it. I didn't do 2 years of work. Like, the extra hours, the extra experience, the extra courses because in between all of them, I've done additional courses. So I've got a certification in email digital marketing. I'm signed up and registered with the Chartered Institute for Marketing. That was really big. That was really important to have that for my business. So if you went to search for me, you can actually see, yeah, her credentials are real. And then and then also I did a degree in theology. So outside of work, outside of
You need to
all of
stop. You're
this,
showing enough. It's enough. It's enough. We get it. We get it. We get it. Okay, it's enough. All right.
but
Cool. Yes. Go
the
on.
theology, it was tough, but it's only because it's trying to change the perception of how digital marketing is seen at church. And COVID was a key part of church realizing how important digital is.
Awesome. This is a story that we're going to talk about for a long time, guys. Really good. Thanks very much again, Coleen, for your time and for sharing your story and for being vulnerable, sharing your struggles as well as your victories. So, guys, we can all see live and direct that it's all possible for all of us to do what we need to do, but it's going to take commitment, it's going to take accountability, and it's going to take dedication. So, check us out next week, where we've got some exciting new guests that are going to be able to give you the stuff you need to get where you want to go. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our Facebook page, and check out Forward Thinking for more information. Any questions or comments that haven't been responded to already, the team will respond to you momentarily. Have a good evening. Thanks for signing in. Say hello.